Okay, I'm definitely not recording more Bob as a way to procrastinate on other projects. His name was Bob by Llewellyn. Chapter 22, Half Empty. I'm sleeping on the couch tonight, and probably from now on. Is this the right... Hold up. Is that the right volume? Okay. Sorry. And probably from now on, Bob told you as he slid from your shoulder, landing on the back of said couch. First thing he had said since leaving the haunt. At least he had let you carry him inside and was looking at you now. You studied his expression. The lights in his eyes were dim as he looked away from you. Oops, wait, I need to turn this on. Hold up, there we go. So you are mad at me after all. Figured. You sighed. I'm sorry. No, I'm not mad at you. I told you that before, didn't I? Jeez, don't go all apologetic on me. It's annoying. He frowned. So you're sleeping on the couch because I'm annoying? You asked. Sure, we'll go with that. He snapped. Why is it all of a sudden a big deal I don't want to sleep with you? Jeez, can't I get some space for once? He glared at you, and then almost immediately his expression softened. He looked away from you again, rubbing the back of his head, looking like he'd say something else, and then just shook his head. Is that really what you want? Space? You asked him. Yeah, he answered hesitantly. That's what I want. Okay, you said. Something was off. He didn't really seem angry at you, and up until now he had always been almost clingy. His arms were folded tightly over his chest. He was clenching his jaw. It almost seemed like he was upset with himself. You couldn't just leave him like that. Look, you said, I'm not going to make you talk if you don't want to, but if you're feeling guilty or worried or embarrassed or whatever, don't. What happened tonight was upsetting. I'm upset too. Personally, I'd like nothing better than to cuddle up and talk about stuff, and maybe we can comfort each other? You waited, hoping he'd take you up on your offer. He said nothing. You sighed. But if I'm wrong about you needing that too, and you really do just want some space, I'll understand. Just don't push me away because of pride or guilt or whatever. He didn't answer you, still staring intently at nothing. Geez, he looked like he was trying not to cry. You reached for him and he jerked away, out of your reach. Don't, he said. Just kind of want to be alone right now, you know? He was rubbing one of his arms and seemingly studying the pattern in the sofa cushion. You dropped your hand. Yeah, you understood needing to be alone. If you change your mind... Yeah. He still stared at the sofa. Oh, man. You hesitated, not wanting to leave him alone. Hey, are you sure? Yeah, night, he said too quickly. Well, what else could you do? You headed to your room, turning off the light on the way, leaving Bob still standing there. He said he wanted to be left alone. What were you supposed to do? You lay in bed, unable to sleep, your thoughts not letting you sleep. That stupid citation. What was supposed to be a fun night was ruined because of stupid, ignorant assholes, and Bob was hurt yet again because of it. And now he was being quiet and distant again, something he hadn't done in a while, and you weren't able to do anything about it. Should you do something about it? Could you really just leave him out there like that? Alone? Bob's point of view. Ashamed, undeserving, broken, burden. That's what he felt. Despite his usual better judgment, he had forgotten how cruel people could be. For once, he had dared to hope things could be different, that he could go out with you and have a good time. And you both were having a good time. You were laughing, smiling. Perhaps that's why he had been so unprepared for the abrupt shift in the night's events. You all were about to get kicked off the hayride. He was once again referred to as a thing, and though it pissed him off, he had accepted it. Wasn't like he hadn't grown used to that kind of stuff. But you actually stood your ground, defended him. You indirectly called him someone you loved. Did you even realize you'd said that? He was so shocked he had said nothing. Nothing. That was, until someone dared to put their hands on you. On you! Bob wanted to hurt him. How dare that security guard put a hand on his human? Bob wanted to protect you. And the guy was calling Bob a monster. A thing. And Bob just... He'd had enough. He wanted to fight back. Destroy everything. Shatter their stupid, idiotic ideas about him and his kind. Tear the place to the ground with his bare hands. Stupid fucking humans. They wanted a monster, he'd show them a monster. Then you were begging him to stop, and he remembered. How had he forgotten how his actions might affect you? He'd fucked up. Suddenly, he was trapped, and, like always, he panicked. And in his panic, he bit you. He hurt you. Again. And hurt you again when you got scolded by everyone. And hurt you again when you got in trouble with the law. Because of him. All because of him. He kinda wished you'd have yelled at him. Been angry with him at the very least. He deserved your anger. But no, you protected him, like you always did. Even after he'd done all that damage. Even after he just cried and sniveled and let you hide him from the repercussions of his actions. Like a coward. He was a coward. He had always been a coward. His cowardice had hurt others in the past, and now it was hurting you. And you were still protecting him. Still being kind to him after he just snapped at you. Why? Why did you do all that? He didn't deserve it. How could he keep hurting you like this? He didn't deserve you. He really was a monster. Broken. No good. Coward. He was pressing the blanket on the couch into his face, trying to stifle the gross sniffles and choking noises he was making. He didn't want you to hear him. Of course you heard him. And then there were gentle fingers rubbing his back, his skull. He was being picked up, cradled, kissed on his face, being given soothing words, telling him it was okay to cry. He didn't deserve it. He didn't. He should try to push you away again. He didn't deserve you. But he wanted it, wanted you. He didn't push you away. He couldn't. Chapter 23. Half Full. You laid in bed with Bob on your chest, rubbing along his skull and back with your fingertips. Someone's using the blender. Hold on. He was just laying there quietly on his side as you rubbed him, the dim lights from his eyes reflecting off your hand as it moved. You hadn't been able to sleep earlier while Bob was on the couch. Yeah, he said he wanted to be left alone, but you just had this feeling. Thankfully, you got to him before he could spiral down further into whatever badness was going on in his head. You felt a little bad about picking him up and carrying him back to your room when he said he had wanted to be left alone. But you couldn't just leave him there when he was so upset. Were you wrong? Should you have just left him alone? Why couldn't he just talk to you about stuff? Though, you were just as guilty. Maybe if you talked to him first? Do you want to talk about it? You asked. You should have just left me, he said quietly. Why? Because you want to be alone? Or because you believe you deserve to be alone? Silence. Yeah, bingo. Definitely the latter. You sighed. I used to blame myself for all sorts of stuff, you said. My mother's death, my father's breakdown, his drug use, and subsequent arrest. The fact that I was burdening the shitty foster family I got placed with, who clearly didn't want me there except for the money they got from the state each month for taking me in. Then, when my dad got clean, and I was placed back with him, eventually, I blamed myself for his relapse. I learned to hide my feelings, even my basic needs. Kept everyone at a distance. It was easier that way. No one was burdened by me. I could be almost invisible, and when you're invisible, you're less likely to get hurt. Well, that's what I figured anyway. Bob was looking up at you now. You continued, I think, ultimately, I was wrong. I was pretty lonely, though I convinced myself I wasn't. I know I still fall into that familiar pattern of guilt, self-loathing, and pushing people away sometimes. Anyway, the point is, I kind of feel like you're doing the same kinds of stuff. Don't. Please, don't ever feel like you have to hide whatever you're feeling or thinking. Not with me. And in return, I won't do that with you. You don't have to... I don't... he said quietly, trailing off and looking away. Look, you said. I've told you before, and I'll keep telling you over and over until you get it through your thick skull that I want you in my life. I wouldn't ever want a life that you're not part of, dork. Even with all the crazy shit we've had to deal with, my life has been a lot happier since I met you. You're amazing, and my best friend. Stop. Jeez. He was either closing his eyes or covering them as the lights disappeared. Nope, I won't. I care about you, you stubborn jerk. Deal with it. Sorry, deal with it. You imitated his voice on that last part and chuckled, kissing the top of his skull. He grumbled, rolling over to bury his face in your pajama top. He was quiet again as you rested your hand on him, continuing to rub the back of his skull with your thumb. You were starting to wonder if he had nodded off. He sighed and turned his head to the side again so he could speak. I'm sorry you got in trouble because of me, he said quietly. I shouldn't have done what I did. Yeah, well, I'm sure I would have gotten in trouble anyway after cursing out an entire tractor full of people. Seriously, I've never done something like that before. I don't know what came over me. Clearly it didn't help the situation any, so sorry I got us both in trouble for that. Heh, I think you cussing out that soccer mom was a great decision, though. You groaned. Oh God, I did do that. And in front of her kids, no less. Sorry for that, too. Well, kind of. Bob gave an amused snort and then was quiet again for a bit. Your phone lit up the room briefly, letting you know it was charged before the screen went out again. Sorry, I lost my place. Before the screen went out again. Thanks for being there for me, he mumbled against you. You smiled. Always. Just like you're always there for me. You went back to rubbing his back. He made a happy noise, but didn't say anything further. Seemed he was done talking for the night. Tiny! Holy shit, come check this out! Bob called you frantically from his spot in front of the computer. What? You asked, setting a pot on the stove. Yay, ramen! Again. Seriously, get over here! He yelled at you from the other room. I'm coming! Ugh, what? He was grinning excitedly. Okay, so you remember last week when we got kicked out of that stupid haunt thing? No, I don't remember that at all. You deadpanned. Sarcasm aside. Anyway, some kid submitted a video of it from their phone to YouTube. Yeah, I know, I was kind of pissed off too at first. Don't worry, your face isn't even really in it. Also, the video quality isn't that great. But it's got like over 100,000 hits already. And check out these comments. Sure enough, there was the video, which Bob wasn't playing. He scrolled down and... wow, there were so many comments. All were generally outraged that Bob had been treated so poorly, and many noticed the fact that it was crystal clear he had emotions, that he was sentient. There were a few naysayers, but they were clearly in the minority. Seemed that shopkeeper with the glasses had actually posted a comment containing the entirety of the story. Sorry, my friend's calling me. Hey, I'm doing a thing!
Doing thing?
I'm doing important Yes, interrupting my important life.
Really? If all this important, are you saying I should never call it? Are you saying that?
No, I'm recording the thing right now. Alright. Yes, you are in the recording. I'll put it on speaker, hold on. Say something to my millions of followers.
Is this streaming or is this recording for later?
No, it's recorded for later, but I'm too lazy to edit, so this is all gonna stay in.
Well, hello everybody. I can't think of anything funny to say on the spot, so I'm sorry for disappointing you.
All right. Come, think of a funny joke.
Funny.
You're all the time coming up with funny jokes. Tell me one of the ones you came up with.
A joke, huh?
Yeah.
What do you get when you mix a... Wait, can I curse?
Yes.
What do you get when you mix a badass onion with a sick beet?
Oh, this one. Yeah.
You get a rapscallion.
How dare you befoul my video with such coarse language.
Okay.
Alright.
Take care. So long.
Alright, bye. See you
I'll
later.
miss you dearly, friend. Bye.
I'll see you in a few hours. Bye.
Take care.
Count the minutes. Bye. Alright. I'm so sorry for that interruption. Where was I? Seemed that shopkeeper with the glasses had actually posted a comment containing the entirety of the story about what happened to Bob at the haunt. And he had pulled his business from the event the day after the fact. You scrolled some more. Geez, people were calling for a boycott of the event, and someone had linked to a petition one of the animal rights groups had started a while back, urging for laws protecting all biddies from abuse, claiming they deserved rights. I'm gonna get in on this. Maybe start a blog or something, Bob said, his eyes shining. This is big. I had no idea there were this many humans who were on our side. Though I'm not gonna come out and say that was me in the video because, not gonna happen. But I can do something separate. Add to this movement. Maybe help it gain some more momentum. Look at this asshat claiming they work for Utagen and that biddies only mimic sentience. Fucker, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. Bob started hopping around the keyboard, typing his response. He was really serious. You didn't remember ever seeing him this passionate about anything. Well, except maybe Mustard. You'd definitely be helping him. It was awesome the Biddy rights movement was not only a thing, but it seemed to be gaining some momentum. It was nice to be reminded that good people still existed. But you knew real change would take a while. People at large were ignorant. But maybe, slowly, they could be educated. They could change. They could learn to be better people. Even if you failed sometimes, maybe with each failure came just a little bit of success. One more person changed by something you did. And after a while, all those little changes could add up and snowball into bigger changes. Was that too optimistic? You watched as Bob continued his enthusiastic assault on the keyboard. Maybe it wasn't wrong to hope and work for good changes. It's a valuable life lesson there. Chapter 24. Schmal. You frowned at the puppy, panting happily as she wagged her tail, one ear flopped over her face. She wasn't contrite at all about the fact that she had pulled her IV catheter. An IV catheter Dr. Rivera had so carefully placed just 5 minutes ago. Guess who gets to wear a cone of shame now? It's you, yes it is, you told her in a sing-song baby voice. She tilted her head sideways at you, her tongue lolling out as her tail thumped behind her. Please don't tell me she pulled her catheter, Dr. Rivera groaned from the desk where he was calculating the pre-med drugs. Want me to lie to you? You asked. He groaned again. Just bring her back out. Oh well. But before getting her, you went to go put together one of the e-collars, i.e. cone of shame, the thing that would prevent this puppy from chewing out her IV catheter again. Just so happened they were stacked by the kennel where Bob was hanging out, sitting with your phone propped up in front of him, using up all the data per usual. "We do have hospital Wi-Fi," you complained, probably for the 100th time to him. "Nah, too slow. It's fine. We haven't gone over your data plan yet," Bob said, barely looking up from your phone as he mashed his bony hands to the screen, tapping away. It might happen, though. You've really been posting like crazy lately on that blog thing of yours. Got any followers?" You went to peek, and he tilted the phone away from you. "A few. Heh, though some don't believe I'm really a biddy. I might have to post a short video or something soon." Dr. Rivera called from around the corner. "When I said bring her back, I meant today. We've got 3 surgeries to do before afternoon appointments. And grab a microchip on your way back." "Tell him to go fuck himself," Bob grumbled under his breath as he continued typing on the phone. "Bob!" you snapped before calling, "Coming!" to Dr. Rivera. "Hey, before you go, okay if I get some stuff mailed to the apartment? Won't cost you anything," Bob said as he peeked at you from around the phone. "Yeah, fine," you said, only half listening as you grabbed an e-collar and went to go grab a microchip and the scanner on the way back. Microchips. Tiny, rice-sized objects that contained a number when scanned. That number linked up to a company system that would contain the owner's contact information when looked up. It wasn't really like a satellite tracking device, like a lot of people seem to think. You don't know how many times you'd had to explain that to owners. It was a good thing you mostly placed microchips when animals were asleep. The needle to place it was huge. You felt like you were shanking them. I actually used to volunteer at a shelter, and I would put in microchips. If you get a pet, definitely microchip them. And you also have to go to the website of the manufacturer of the microchip and sign up your contact info there. A lot of people don't. They get the microchips and they don't put in the contact info, and then there's no way to find the owner. You might as well not have a microchip. Sorry, okay, PSA over, sorry. You idly wondered how Biddy's microchips were placed. As you held the puppy for an IV catheter placement, round 2. You knew they were located in their skulls, but Bob didn't seem to have any scars. Maybe they built the skeletal structure around them while Biddy's were being made? And speaking of microchips, hadn't Ray said something about some company employee being confused when he scanned Bob's? Maybe because Bob had run away and was reported missing or something? Bob wasn't exactly forthcoming with information about his past. Well, it probably didn't really matter and definitely wouldn't come back to bite you all someday. Right? I need to take that out, that was a spoiler. Okay. Definitely wouldn't come back to bite you all someday. Right? Why did you even think that? Ugh. Can you please stop daydreaming and hold off the vein properly? Dr. Rivera grumbled through his teeth. "Oh, sorry," you said as you repositioned your hand on the wiggly puppy's leg. Geez, Doc was in a bad mood. In all fairness, it was kind of your fault that you all had to stack 3 surgeries in one day instead of doing one of them tomorrow. You had court tomorrow and had asked for that day off. Though you didn't exactly tell them why you needed the day off, just saying you had an appointment. Dr. Rivera and Gary didn't ask any further than that. You didn't ask for days off very often. Well, at least you had a long day of surgeries and appointments before you even had to worry about tomorrow. The day went by too fast, you lamented miserably to yourself as you and Bob entered the apartment. You set him down on the couch before flopping down on said couch yourself and turning on the TV. Bob was all quiet and fidgety, probably worried about court in the morning like you were. Though you had done the research, and it was likely you wouldn't go to jail or anything like that. Maybe you'd have to pay the fine listed on the citation and do community service, but that was about it. It would be okay. You reached over and nudged Bob. "Hey, Freddie McFredderson, stop. Things will be fine tomorrow." "Okay," he said unconvincingly, as he clearly kept his fretting face on. He continued to fidget and watch TV. You nudged him again with your finger. Talk to me. Just got a lot on my mind, Zol. I'm fine. Promise. He offered you a weak grin, gently pushing your finger away. His hand lingering on it before he gave you an awkward pat, withdrew his hand and folded his arms over his chest. Fine. You turned your attention to the TV. Oh, you loved this cartoon. It was about a bunch of small, sentient space rocks that... Yeah, this one. The Steven Universe one. Sorry, I forgot about this part. You loved this cartoon. It was about a bunch of small, sentient space rocks that take humanoid forms and protect the Earth, along with their half-human alien hybrid adopted son. Ha! The plot was crazy, but it really was an amazing show. It is. And this episode was especially great, though you'd both seen it before. Bob loved this cartoon, too, though he'd always glance over it at you while you two watched it. Tonight, even more so. Alright, what's up, Staring McStarerson? You called him out, as you caught him outright staring at you. What's with all the nicknames tonight? He blushed and looked back at the TV, scratching the back of his head. And I'm not staring, just thinking, and staring at nothing, and you happened to be where I was looking. Uh-huh, you said, as you raised an eyebrow at him. So, what are you thinking about while you stare at... You made some air quotes. Nothing. Ah, man, Blushy McBlusherson's whole skull was getting pretty red. Pfft, what was he even thinking about? Well, at least whatever it was, it didn't seem to be about court this time. Nothing, he mumbled as he slouched and continued his stare down with the TV. Ugh, fine. You kind of wanted to tease him more, but at the same time, you figured that might make him not tell you anything. If it was important, he'd eventually talk to you anyway. He was getting better about that, though he seemed to prefer to talk to you when you all had lied down for the night. Guess it was easier for him to talk to you when he didn't have to look you in the eye. Sure enough, soon after you got in bed, Bob crawled up on you and started fidgeting, before finally he let out a breath and spoke. I was just thinking, do you believe in souls? He asked quietly. That's random. Like souls? I guess, maybe, you said. I guess I kinda have to, since you've got one I can kinda see through your eyes and all. Yeah, but do you think, like, human souls are made of the same stuff as Bitty's? I have no idea. I mean, I've never seen a human soul, so I wouldn't know. Not like we have glowing eyes or glowing smoke stuff like you at all. What was he getting at? Well, I mean, assuming it's the same, how big do you think a soul is? Like, do you think some are bigger than others, or the same size? Bob asked. I don't really think they would have a size. I have no idea. What brought all this on? I don't know. That crazy cartoon we watched just got me thinking. You know how the gem's true forms are small rocks? And how one of them became, like, romantically interested in a human? And I was just wondering your thoughts on that, and... you know what? Forget it. Don't answer that. Forget I said or asked anything, 'cause I'm just overly tired, and I'm spouting nonsense, and I'm gonna go to sleep now, and we should probably both sleep, and, please just forget about it. The room went silent after that. What? No. That was he? What? No. He told you to forget it. Just forget it. Best not to think about it. You decided to take Bob's request and not answer before you came to weird conclusions. You took a breath. Had you been holding your breath? Bob seemed kind of tense, too. Good night, you said quietly. Night, Bob said back. You rested your hand over him. He let out a sigh and wrapped his arms around one of your fingers, nuzzling it. You both eventually fell asleep like that. The plot thickens. Alright. Okay. Well... subscribe!